Hello my friends, welcome to Reddit Rabbit. Before we start, catch the rabbit at the bottom right corner, smash that subscribe button and leave a comment. r/AskReddit, what's the most American thing ever that if explained to a non-American might just sound crazy? The best chicken joints in the hood usually have bulletproof glass. From Detroit. Can confirm. When I was in Tennessee as an exchange student for a year, I was surprised by the team spirit of each high school. Like how there was a football game every Friday night and almost all of the school was there to cheer them on. That would never happen in my country. Spectating as a high school kid was mainly a way to socialize, meet up, and find out where the parties were. At least when I was in high school, pre-cell phones. That's what we did. No one really watched the actual sport, because it's rarely a quality game. It was a huge social event in my high school back in the 80s. Everyone sat together with their group of friends and eventually someone would say party at Joe's place, 1 hour. And suddenly 20 kids would walk out of the stadium. The parking lot was the place to be too. Lots of booze and smocking. So much that by the time I was a senior, there was a security guard roaming the parking lot during the game. As a South African, what amazed me was the competitors call each other out in advertisements. I couldn't believe it at first, it seemed so unusual. Adverts for medication. You've got happy people and stuff in the ad and then, it may cause death. French guy who lived in NC for a while here. To me, the weirdest thing was all the advertisement for prescription drugs on TV, radio, and online. It's crazy waking up in the morning and suddenly while you're having your morning coffee and cereals, your TV starts spewing stuff about some random meds like they're Tic Tacs you can just arbitrarily decide you need. The worst is honestly the mandatory side effect warning at the end of every ad. I nearly choked on my egg sandwich the first time that voice came up warning people about horrific stuff that could, potentially, happen if they took the drug. I have lived in quite a few countries around the world. And the US is the only place where I saw this. It's about money. These drug companies want to get their name out there so the old people who have the issues shown will ask for it by name and get them paid. As a Brit, what shocked me was learning about just how huge your college sports games are. A university college football, soccer, team game here might draw a crowd of a few hundred. A friend who went to the University of Texas told me their American football stadium seats 100,000. What the actual frick? You would probably be even more surprised at how big high school sports are, especially here in Texas. As an English person who's just recently started watching Friday Night Lights, that was a real shock. Obviously it's fictional and about the football team, but that people know who the players are, and they talk to TV news cameras, and the entire town goes to games. I'm not even sure if my high school had a football team. I mean, even though it's fictional, it's accurate. My brother was a star player and people would pat him on the back and tell him good job when we were out in public. Once he got free pancakes at the local diner after he got 4 touchdowns in one game. I think the idolization of high school athletes is a little misplaced and over the top. But I did love growing up and going to the football games and seeing everyone I know. It was a really nice community building time. I would go and screw around with my friends and eat ice cream while pretending to be cheerleaders. And you saw everyone you knew, got to catch up, made new friends. It was a great time. Plus, our high school marching band was killer. They'd put on an awesome halftime show. I think I will use this thread and ask something to you Americans. Are the movie stereotypes of cheerleaders and football players true? Do all schools have a football team with associated cheerleaders? And are the people who join them usually popular kids? I'm only right upstairs in Canada, but I've never even heard of a school that has cheerleaders. Also, what is a homecoming dance? Almost all high schools have football teams, and if there is a football team there is likely a cheerleading squad. Sports are expensive. Whether buying equipment, going to camps, or traveling to away games. So the kids aren't necessarily popular, but are usually not cool. Typically outgoing types join sports as well. Perhaps the sports even contribute to their outgoing personalities by giving them frequent socialization. The cheerleaders undergo extensive dance and gymnastics training in addition to competitions and games. So also expensive and lots of socialization. They are also both team sports, so they come with built-in social circles. Also, due to Title IX, which is a federal law, you need an equal number of men's and women's sports teams. Having a cheerleading and football team keeps that ratio even. For your information, you don't need an equal number of sports teams. You need a proportionate number of male and female athletes to male and female students. For example, if 10% of male students are athletes, you need to have opportunities for 10% of female students to be athletes. At schools with football, since football team rosters are so large and generally all male, schools need multiple female-only sports teams to compensate. At many universities, this translates to some sports being female-only, like soccer, crew, volleyball, etc., while the men's equivalents for those sports are club teams. I would also add that being an athlete implies a certain level of fitness. Fitness correlates to attractiveness, which maps to popularity in high school. Also, football teams are huge. At least 40 players and could be up to 100. Being a member gives you a huge group of friends as a baseline for your popularity. Hospitals buy ad space on billboards. I've never left the country, but we must be the only country that has hospitals advertising like Burger King. Yep. Here, NZ. You just go to your nearest hospital. Advertising prescription drugs to regular people on TV. Then the following advertisement is a law ad saying that if someone you know has died from that drug, to call now for compensation. If you or a loved one have been affected by mesothelioma, you may be entitled to compensation. Walmart, you can get a haircut, buy a gun and ammo with your groceries while getting your car fixed. Nah, they just do tires and oil changes. They don't fix anything. They might break something for you though. You can get a haircut in a hypermarket? That actually sounds cool. Yup, my Walmart also has a bank and eyeglasses part, nail salon too. I'm from the NL and honestly I have many questions for the US. Most burning on though is, why are your toilet stall doors so damn high above the ground? I don't know and I'm still not used to it. The worst is the size of the cracks between the door. The amount of times I've made eye contact with someone while sitting on the toilet is more than I'd like. At my work, not in the US by the way, because of how shiny the tiles are, you can look under the gap and make eye contact with the other person taking a dump next to you via the reflection. It's weird. Hold eye contact to show dominance. Okay. I am not sure where it started, but I believe that in the 1970s rampant homelessness and drug use hit the coasts. Also, many people used to have gay X in bus stop bathrooms around the USA, to the point where it became a popular gay trope in men's culture. One of the best ways to combat people sleeping in bathroom stalls, as well as reduce X in the bathroom and heroin use, was to continue to make people feel uncomfortable with the large gaps. Over time it just stuck. I am amazed in Europe how they don't have a X homelessness problem, because if they had those fully lockable toilets like that in the USA, people would be living in them, having X, shooting up, or all kinds of other nefarious shit. Shooting a red sports car into space seemed like a pretty quintessentially American thing to do. One of my Canadian friends told me that, back in 2003, when France, refused to take part in the war against Iraq, some Congress cafeterias and some restaurant in the USA renamed French fries in Freedom Fries. I think it's the most passive-aggressive and American thing you could have done. Plus, fries come from Belgium, not France. Someone on another thread explained that the French part was not actually referring to France. Apparently it comes from Frenched fries, Frenched meaning they have been cut in this particular way. People just got lazy and started saying French fries instead of Frenched. As a Belgian myself, I was kind of relieved, winking face. When purchasing an item, the listed price is actually not the amount you'll have to pay at checkout. It will be more. Florida. We have an equivalent here in my country. Crete is Greece's Florida. It's both hot, as it's, and the people are nuts. I feel like this could be its own AskReddit thread. What is your country's equivalent of Florida? Not an American, Brit, but when I watch live streaming Premier League on American channels, all legal of course, I honestly find the advertisements so strange. They're so aggressive. I don't know if that's the right word, but honestly it's a fun experience. The car adverts are the best. You should see local ads, they're hilarious. Local TV ads and local radio ads, especially the car dealerships.